All right, so 5 things that you need to know before pursuing veterinary school. Because, as a kid, you really want to do these things. You're like, yeah, I want to be a vet when I get older. Things don't gross me out, but that's not all it cracks up to be. So I made this little slideshow. It's very expensive. Number one. So you gotta expect to be in school for about 7 to 8 years. I say 7 to 8 because really it's 4 years of undergrad school, and then it's usually 3 years of schooling and then 1 year of internship. I know all these things because I wanted really badly to go to vet school, but sadly I was not successful, and I decided to set my sights elsewhere. But this is information for anyone who really just wants to go, and I have done all of the research. So I've considered going back, but I've got my veterinary license now as far as like technician goes, so I'll just be lower on the totem pole, which is fine with me. Um, Average cost to go to veterinary school, according to Google, which this is true, it's around 150K to 420, depending on if you decide to go in state or out of state. This is not an exaggeration. I know it seems like no way, but yeah, I mean, it's insane how much it costs to go to veterinary school. This includes the number of undergrad, so undergrad plus going to veterinary school, so again, 8 years of schooling. Island school, that's basically like people who go to what we call Ross. So, you go out of the US, which is technically still in the US, but basically it's like a cheaper option, but you have to still come back to the US and take school here in order to actually practice as a DVM, a doctorate of veterinary medicine, or a doctor of veterinary medicine in the US. And again, number two, this is a job of passion. It's not for money making. Unless you get really lucky and you don't graduate with debt because, your parents pay for all of your schooling, which, is not the case for a lot of people. Or if you're just lucky and, you get all the scholarships, which I highly recommend doing. I have that at the end of this slide area here. But yeah, I know a lot of veterinarians who like can't afford to buy a house. They're living paycheck to paycheck. Like, yes, you come out of this profession making on average, usually people start around like 70 to 80,000 a year. That's, not including taxes being taken out. And then I do know some people who are making more because we are in a super highly demand field right now. Like everybody is looking for veterinarians. Like it's super high demand. So you can basically go in saying, I want to make this much money, and you might be able to make it. So again, it depends. Highly recommend applying for FAFSA. Again, there's this place called FAFSA.com. It is a scam. They basically want to take your money. So make sure you're going to the actual FAFSA.gov website. That is free, and basically it's just applying for government money to see if you qualify for grants, and as well as like the federal loans. But grants you don't have to pay back, as well as like some scholarship applications require you to apply. So again, requirement to get some of those scholarships. Number 3, the job is more people than animals. I'm sorry. So, you go in, you just want to deal with animals because you can't stand people. Sadly, you're going to deal a lot more with people than you are with animals. I can say I know this because I've been in this field for 7 years now. I mean, you definitely want to deal with puppies and kittens and all of that stuff, but, most of this is client education. You're going to be talking to people probably like 80% of the time, and then 20% of it is working with the animals and like, vaccines, surgery, and all of that stuff. I'm sure if you were able to get a surgical position, you'd mostly be doing surgery, but you're still going to have to educate clients and everything like that, and discharges and everything. So again, education is very important. So again, you're talking to the clients a lot more than you're baby talking to the animals. And number 4, probably really important, veterinary school is so competitive. It's the most competitive. Like, I say in my opinion, but it is the most competitive. I mean, people say that medical school and dental school is really competitive, but I mean, all of these little notes I put on here are completely true. So I applied in 2017. They didn't even give me a look. They were like, nope, you didn't make it. Applied in 2018. I like retook a couple of classes to make my GPA go a little bit higher. Still wasn't competitive. I had a 3.36. They were like, no way, man, you don't even have a 3.5. That's not even, yeah. They said that was my problem. I needed basically a 4.0 to apply. The year I applied, the average was a 4.0 as well as the mean. So usually when you ask, you say, what was the average? They say it was this, and then you ask, what was the mean? And you're like, well, it was still 4.0. So 4.0 each time. I'm like, well, that sucks for me. So they said the only way to improve my application was to increase my GPA. And after you graduate, that's basically impossible. So yeah. And again, 1,000 hours working as a veterinary assistant. I, had a few I volunteered, and that still wasn't enough. So again, find ways to set yourself aside, do something a little different, like more volunteering, like make sure your GPA, like you basically have to get straight A's in order to apply to veterinary school. Virginia Tech is where I applied. I applied other places, but they didn't consider me because, I'm not the smartest cookie in the bunch, sadly. But again, so this right here. So when I applied, I asked why. So I did get waitlisted. I was like, oh, thank you so much. I was like 20th down on the wait list, which felt great out of 1,200 applicants. There are 100 spots. 100 spots. That does not change. There are, I think it's 60 for in-state, and then there's 40, like, it's complicated because it's like 40 out-of-state, but that includes, like, there's some spaces reserved for West Virginia because they don't have a vet school, and then there's some for Maryland because it's Virginia, Maryland. So it's complicated, but 60 are reserved for Virginia. So, like, what? And then there's 2 people in my clinic who applied for veterinary school, and they applied to Virginia Tech, and there were 2,000 applicants last year. So, dang. And then when you do apply, it's, VMCAS is the online application system. It's really easy, but you better make sure you have about $1,000 to apply, because your first school, when I applied a few years ago, so it's probably more, was about, it was $300 for the first school, and then it was $150 every school after that. And again, it's probably more now. And number 5, apply for scholarships. I really regret not doing this. So when I got into Blue Ridge for veterinary technician school, I was like, I guess I'll start applying for scholarships. Why not? Dude, I got scholarships every freaking semester, and I'm so upset that I didn't do this sooner, because that is free money. All I had to do was fill out some application, which took me like 5 minutes, and then write an essay, which did take me some time because I'm really not great at writing. But writing an essay and then getting anywhere between like $500 to $1,000, dude, totally worth it. Yeah, you don't have to repay them. And honestly, if you applied for the FAFSA and you qualified for grants, because just this year, at least for Blue Ridge, the veterinary technician program is covered under like this thing that used to not be covered under it, but now veterinary technician program is covered. So there's a grant that, like, if you qualify, if you make like no money, then, which, as a veterinary field person, you don't make much money, you qualify for it. So then basically all of that stuff's covered, and you get that money back to cover books and like all of their expenses, like housing and all of that. So it is so worth it. And okay, if you don't get scholarships because you don't qualify, I'm sorry, but you might not qualify for vet school. It's the harsh truth. I didn't get into veterinary school because of my GPA. I mean, like, I did way better in veterinary technician school than I did at all getting my biology undergrad. Probably because all the gen eds really threw me off. I don't know. But again, I don't know if like just being younger and like having that, like, I need to get into school and like just get it done, like that kind of mindset. I'm not sure, but I mean, I did way better in veterinary technician school than I did. I think I have like a 3.8 GPA right now. Again, not a 4.0, but I did way better in like when I was in school for the specific program that I am doing. Like, I do my job every day, and I use this information that I learn every day, so it makes a lot more sense to me. I can apply it every single day, so I like it. But yeah, Sorry if it's kind of like a harsh truth thing. I know I'm not the greatest at these videos, but I'm probably going to come out with more because I kind of wish that somebody had more of these harsh truth videos because I feel like I wasted a lot of time and money um, trying to get into veterinary school when I really just should have spent my time elsewhere. Like, I should have just gone straight into community college. I should have just, I should have done so many other things. Like, I can't go back now, but, I'm still $20,000 in debt for my undergrad, which I'll have to start repaying, assuming that, August rolls around and they make us start paying those back again post COVID. So, but yeah, I'll come back with more info. If not, just comment below if you have any questions. I will be happy to answer them in another video. I will probably have more videos. I do plan on making one like what a veterinary nurse does or an LVT, licensed veterinary technician, does, because I am now a licensed veterinary technician. Um, and then also I will plan to make a video about the emotional toll of veterinary medicine because that is very important to me, and it's information that I hold near and dear to my heart. So I'm just going to post this and hope for the best. Have a great day, and I hope everything's great.